What is good, y'all? It's Ronald, also known as Youcapper from Sportsmemo.com. Got my guys Chris and Munaf with me here today. Gonna break down the slate today. We got 7 games. Hopefully we have time to go through all of them, but I have a few looks I gave out to clients already today. Hopefully we can get a few more. Maybe I'll get some looks from Chris and Munaf here. Chris, man, how's your week been going?
Up and down day yesterday. I finished 4-4. So I took the Spurs, which that was a fail, but I also took the Magic. They won outright. Took them plus the 7.5. And then I was on the Rockets team total under 114.5. And we see the Timberwolves come out there, lay an egg on the defensive end, specifically in the second half. I knew that the Rockets probably would score early, but didn't think that they would follow up. But hit a few player props, did a little bit better on the player props. Anthony Simons over his threes, Youcapper points as well. Dot on the hook with Tatum over his points plus rebounds. But yeah, it was a so all in all, it was a 4-4 day. I went pretty light yesterday as far as like unit size.
Yeah. How about you, Munaf?
Yeah, it was a pretty good day. I know you and I were on the Rockets first half. I took both the +3 and the money line. Money line ended up pushing because I ended up tying. Got the +3 home. Also took Bulls -1 yesterday. Got a little sketchy there in the fourth quarter, but they were to pull away in the final minutes. And then player props ended up going 5-1
Nice.
as well.
Nice.
I was on that Simons over 3.5 threes as well with Chris there. So. And then the Şengün one, I think that was consensus for all of us. That one got there late in the fourth quarter for the Rockets. So turned out to be a pretty good day. Hopefully we can continue that here today.
Yeah, I mean, let's get into that slate today. I think we have a good, I mean, I didn't like it at first, but last night when I was going through it, I saw a few games that I ended up playing overnight. Some leans today that I want to kind of try to get into and see if I can push myself to get there as far as playing, making them bets. So we'll see how it goes. Let's go into this first one here. We'll go to the Bulls and the Pacers. Did you guys have any looks on this game? I'm gonna bring up the screen now.
Go ahead, man.
This line is fishy. The line is fishy. I'll say that much. I know you. I know you liked a side here. Why don't you lead it off?
So I do like the Pacers here. Maybe I could. Let's see if I can convince you. It's tough, right? Because they haven't won without Hallie yet. I believe. Yeah. I don't think they've won yet. They did cover one game, but when I'm looking at it at a whole level, we're looking at the Bulls here. Sorry, not the Bulls. The Bulls and
away favorites.
Both favorites. They haven't won a game or covered in that situation at all. And these are teams I would say they're not top level teams, right? Spurs, Thunder, Wolves, Wizards, Pacers would be there. Obviously, I think that this line would be a little bit different if Hallie was in. The possibility on the second back-to-back that they maybe they would have been dogs in this spot, or even closer to. I mean, at least closer to pick them if Hallie was in. So in this spot here, they're losing by a pretty significant margin on average, but most of that was on this game here against the Wolves, losing pretty tightly though, 3, 4, and 5 here. For the most part, it's their defense that's struggling. 3 of them, double digits over the team total for the opponents, pretty close to all 3 of them. This one was only by 8 points. If we go to the Pacers side and we look at just home dogs, 8-6 straight up, 10-4 ATS. They've covered a whole bunch in a row here. Lost this last one against the Grizzlies. Again, they were on the second of back-to-back. Now they're facing a team that's on the second of back-to-back. The one thing that another thing to add is if they're at home, 2 days of rest. Having 2 straight up, 5-2 ATS, and then if we say that they're at home, 3-0, they beat the Heat, Pelicans, Raptors. Pelicans, this was at the time when they were pretty healthy too. So for me, I can only look towards the Pacers here. Another thing that's not not quantifiable or you don't have stats on is one thing that we talked about a long time ago, Chris, is I think you mentioned it was maybe Darvin Ham that mentioned it, that the jet lag when you have a long travel spot, it's actually the second game back where they get hit, and that's this spot here coming from Paris. This is now their second game back. So, and then the second game of back-to-back nights, and then you travel again. So I think this might be that spot where they fall flat here. We were on the Bulls yesterday, right, So I think this is a spot where we take the other side here. Did you guys have any thoughts on sort of those angles there?
So the only thing I'll mention real quickly, RC, is that when I looked at this game, I said, man, my first thought was what Munov said. Super short line, seems a little fishy to me. Pacers have not, won a game since Halliburton has went down. I think they're 0-6 in that spot. So, automatically don't necessarily want to back them. Also coming back home off the road trip, I think that's important as well, RC.
So that was
go ahead.
That was just what I was gonna show actually that you just mentioned. So them coming home off a road game, they're actually 5-2 straight up, 5-2 ATS. So we talk about this, right? Some teams do well in different spots that others don't. Like there's teams that do well in revenge spots, right? But Boston is 0-7 ATS in that spot this season, right? And then here we look at travel spots. We typically fade off of long road trips from road to home. But Pacers do well here in this spot. So I don't know. That's what I wanted to add since you were just talking about it that I was showing on the screen. But go ahead and keep going.
No. So that was one piece of it, RC, and I think that I tell people that as well. You definitely want to look it up before you just make a judgment on fading the team just because they're coming back home. I know that the Wizards are sneakily the same way, RC. They typically play well, off a road trip as well. But all teams don't, like you said. But the other thing I looked at, RC, was the first query you pulled up, the Bulls, right? We typically like to play them when they're away dogs, especially in conference games. But you look at them as away favorites and they're 0-4. And to me, that was enough to make me be like, you know what? If you wanted to take the Bulls, you should have did it last night. They're not necessarily going to win every single game. And I don't want to take the Pacers without Halliburton either. So it was an easy pass for me. I think player props galore could happen in this game with a total at 234. I think Vucevic is a guy that's been playing really, really well. The Bulls have been playing through him recently. He did play 39 minutes last night, which made me a little hesitant to want to go right back to him with the travel spot as well. But even on the other side, I think, Pacers have to continue to fill that void without Halliburton. So looking at some of those guards, RC, I think would be in play today. We got Nembhard, I think, listed as questionable. TJ McConnell, I think, had a triple-double in his last game. And Buddy Hield's been the kind of anchor of that offense recently. So I think, it could be a game where you look at some player props.
That's a good point. Did you have player props on this one, Munaf? I know you're big on that as well.
No, not this game. I think the Vooch one makes a lot of sense just because what Billy Donovan came out and said, getting in more involved. And I think we've seen the results of that over the past couple games here for him. And he's also rebounded the ball pretty well against the Pacers throughout his career as well. But I think Chris hit the nail on the head that because he did play heavy minutes last night, about 39 close to 40 minutes. There may be some fatigue setting in here tonight. So I would look at Vooch. But other than that, I wanted to get there with Levine's 3-pointers, but I think the market caught up to it where they put at 2.5 at -165. But I think that's too much juice for me to pay. So I think, Vooch would be the way to go.
Yeah, I think you guys were talking about that in the chat about that post game interview, and ever since then he's actually been hitting those props, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good point. One thing to go back to before we move on to the next one, just going back to this one here, the long travel spot and then going home. I looked at the three road games in a row and then going home for the Pacers. They're actually 3-0 straight up and against the spread here. And one thing that I looked at was this Heat game. The rest advantage here of at least a couple of days, and they were able to take care of business there as well as 3-point dogs. They won only by 2 points, but they did cover by 5. Went under by a good margin. I think it might be a similar situation here, in my opinion. I just feel like the game flow seems like it'll be similar to Pacers Heat, maybe a little bit more points than that because Heat obviously they play a way slower pace than the Bulls do.
Did you have a look at it? Well, did you have a look at all RC on the total? Like, because now that you said that, the under kind of feels like it could be in play.
I would think under just based off of Bulls travel fatigue. I think they're going to struggle offensively for the most part. And then we already know Pacers are less efficient offensively as well, right? Without Hallie. So that I would think under. I would assume this would stay a close game. But I think the Pacers actually win this one outright. That's just the way that I look at it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna look a little more into the total RC because the Bulls are the number 1 rated defensive team over the last 5 games. And I do think that if you think the Pacers are gonna win this game, it is because they're gonna have to slow down this Bulls offense, which like you said, the jet lag should be there. Second game back, especially after starters played heavy minutes last night in a meaningful game against the Hawks. So I think I like the under. I see. I got to look a little more into it, but
Yeah.
I think getting Caruso back has been big for them as well for the Bulls.
Defensively, right?
Yeah, he's really been picking up the best defensive perimeter player for the opposing teams. I think last night you saw with Trae Young, he kind of frustrated him as well. So I think, Chicago, again, Chris said it over the last 5 games, they've been really good on the defensive side. So I would probably look at the under as well in this game.
Actually, real quick, one more thing.
I just want to answer Scott G's question real quick. He said, "Can Bulls offense really struggle against the Pacers' bad D?" I don't think it's going to be the defense that really has them struggling. I think more so it's going to be their tired legs. I don't think they're going to have the legs to go through another game back to back coming from Paris 2 games ago. I think it's a really bad travel and fatigue spot for the Bulls. So to me, there was a situation the other day where the Celtics had open shots and they just missed them. I think it's the same thing here. There's going to be opportunity for the Bulls to have open shots, but I don't know if they're going to have the energy to really muster up enough to get over their team total or play well offensively versus this Pacers team. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I want to look at can you pull this query up? Let's look at teams coming off a 3-game losing streak. So previous loss, with the extra P's or whatever, and then they're home. So I think this spot fits the Knicks today, and it also fits
Since when, Chris?
I mean, we could just look at it. Let's just go to the bottom and see what it looks like at the very bottom, like maybe in the month of January. So those games are trending over.
A lot of overs.
Like at the bottom.
Recently, a lot of overs.
Yeah.
And January is kind of like where we started to see a lot more totals go up.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing a lot of 240s, a lot of upper 235s in the beginning of the season. We're around the 220s for the most part. So we're like, on average, the totals are up about 10 points, I think, at least. So offenses are really clicking towards the middle of the season here.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to see what that looked like. I see.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Well, for me, I like the Pacers on that one. Well, did you guys have any? Did you guys end up taking anything or nothing official on that one?
No, nothing official on this game.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. That's going to be the Celtics Heat. This one has a lot of injury implications on the Celtics side. I think obviously the line has moved since then. But it did open. What did it open at? Didn't it open at a funky number anyways?
It's like -1, right? In favor of Miami.
It was in favor of Miami. I think when I woke up this morning before the injury news, it was at like -3 already. So everyone was kind of questioning what was going on. And then, like an hour or whatever, however long ago, everybody, announced out. So for this one, I was looking towards Boston first quarter last night before any of the injury news. That was the way that I was going. Did you guys have any looks on this one?
I think for me, it was that I felt like that Celtics were going to be the public dog of the day. But if you kind of understand injury reports and how things work right now in the NBA, that somebody was going to end up sitting for the Boston Celtics. Somebody probably had that information, and lo and behold, Jaylen Brown is out. I know Marcus Smart didn't play last night. They're still going to be without him. They're going to be without Brogdon here as well as Al Horford. So I would lean towards the Heat full game at that opening number, but for me right now, it's probably going to be a stay away.
What are your thoughts on this one, Chris?
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot of what Munoz said. For me, man, the Celtics are in a really weird spot, RC. They are, like you got it up on the screen right now. They are 2-1 against this team straight up and against the spread already this season. And this is typically a spot that you don't want to typically back a lot of teams in, right? Second night of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights for the Celtics, but the Celtics perform well in this spot, throughout the season. They are extremely short-handed, right? So can they continue to keep that going? Like you got it on the screen right now. Second night of a back-to-back, this team is 7-1, 5-1-1 against the spread. Even third game in 4 nights, which it also is, RC, because they did play in Toronto 2 nights ago. it's a
And they
it's a
covered
really
all. They
yeah,
won all of them.
right. Like it's a really difficult place to fade to fade this team. I think and then the opposite thing I looked at RC was the Heat when they're home favorites. They don't typically, they don't cover a lot of spreads at home.
Yeah,
You
6,
got it right
14,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, just 6-14. So I know they've been playing a little bit better recently. They came out a little lackadaisical at home against the Pelicans in that last game, and the Pelicans won the first quarter and the first half. It was a revenge game for the Pelicans, but now that they see that Boston will be without some of those guys, we always talk about trying to cap motivation, and it's difficult. RC, it's one of the most difficult things to cap. So I think me and Munaf kind of talked about it a little bit before the show. I think looking at some player props as far as 3-pointers for the Boston Celtics, because they shoot the 3-point ball pretty well, I think would probably be the best play. I probably just look at the props when those open up for some of the Boston guys, because Miami is bottom 5 in 3-point percentage, opposing 3-point percentage, and 3-point makes for opponents as well. So that's the way I look in this game. RC, like I said, I question the motivation for the Miami Heat. It is a double revenge game. They also beat them in the playoffs last year. But at the same time, it's like, do they get up for this game? This is also a nationally televised game, I see. This is the TNT game tonight, the Tuesday TNT game. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, sorry. I did like the first quarter. One thing that the one reason I stayed away from the full game last night, even before the injuries, was what I just talked about earlier, how Boston actually doesn't do well in revenge situations. Because you mentioned how well they do second leg of back-to-back games, right? But if we go and say that they're an in-season revenge, they're 0-7 ATS in that spot. A lot of these situations, they are the dog, though. So that might be something that might be different in this game here, especially with that being at 4.5, like plus 4.5 now. I'm going to stay away from this one. But I just want to show like some of the information that we look at for the most part.
One more thing, I see. Let's just look at the Celtics on the season, and I want people to look at this like just with the total as well, because you don't see too many Celtics games with these low totals. So if you just sort it by the total, you see that
it's the lowest total.
Yeah, it's the lowest total, and those last two was against the Cavs, which I think will probably be a comparable defense with Miami being at home and being rested. They haven't won those games specifically, so that's another way I was looking at it as well.
To take the over,
to take the I don't think I've touched the total in this one. I see just if, like Munaf said, just probably fade them in general, but it's difficult because they play so well in the second night of a back-to-back. They're not one of those teams that's just going to lay down and chuck one of those games up as a loss. I know we've thought that they would in the past, and they people have gotten burned by trying to fade Celtics on the second night of a back-to-back.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's move on to the next one. I think do you guys have a play on this one? I don't. Cavs Knicks.
Cavs Knicks. I was looking at the Cavaliers team total. I see.
Yeah, me
Cavs
too.
On the road.
You can look at the more so just a fade of the Knicks recently. Their defense has been really bad without Mitchell Robinson over the last few games. So if you just we could look at the Knicks.
Let's see. I'm gonna bring up the Knicks here. Without Mitchell Robinson?
Yeah, without Mitchell Robinson. I think it's happened, quite a few games, but just recently they really, really struggled in this spot. I know that they went to Toronto. Toronto was on the second leg of a back-to-back, a third game in 4 nights, and a fourth and 6, and still got whatever it is that they wanted against this team the other night.
They gave up 139 and 125.
Yeah, in the last two games. The Cavaliers team total I see is 112.5 right now. The Knicks have allowed that four times in their 4-game losing streak as well. So even before Mitchell Robinson went out, they're just not playing great defense. I think bottom 3 defensive team last 5 games.
So this is what I just pulled up. Mitchell Robinson, because I noticed some of the games where they went under, it was against non-conference opponents. So I brought in the conference teams, 1-4 straight up, 0-4-1 ATS, 4-1 to the over. They're giving it up for the most part. So these dog situations here, they're dogs today, right?
Yeah, they're dogs today. 3.5. They opened at 3, I think. Mm-hmm.
So in the dog situations in this spot, they're definitely losing and not covering at all, and they're going over. This is the only favorite spot, so we just say conference and dog. Are you guys able to see it? I don't know if it's big enough.
Yeah, it's
I can see it.
Okay. 0-4 straight up, 0-4 ATS, 3-1 to the over. Huge margin on the losses there. Did you guys so you mentioned the team total. Would you guys just take the Cavs in general?
Yes.
Yeah, Cavs team total over.
The Cavs team total. You mean the spread though, right? I see.
Yeah, the spread. That's my bad.
Yeah. I think if you look at the Cavs as away favorites, I see just add favor in there. They typically don't do well on the road, generally.
Yeah.
Just 6 and 7 straight up. They're winning those games by average of 4 points. This just seems like a Cavalier spot. So I would be looking to back him as well. Donovan Mitchell is listed as probable for this game. I think he's gonna make his return. So they should, and they've been playing much better on the road. I think a lot of that RC goes to Darius Garland. I was fading Darius Garland on the road because his home road splits were so bad recently, but he's really picked it up in the past few games with Donovan Mitchell being out. I think it started in that Denver game 2 weeks ago. So he's played well, recently. But this team is, not they don't do well. RC coming off one of the things I looked at. Look at this real quick, RC. Look at the Cavaliers coming off a home win, and then they're an away favorite.
So they lost and failed to cut. Oh, they already played the Knicks in that spot too.
Mm-hmm. That was a game without Jared Allen though. So Jared Allen will be in for this one. They'll be a full squad this game. But I mean, some like the loss to the Spurs is, we did a show that day. I don't know if you remember that or not, but that's inexcusable. Like you can't, this their ability to not be consistent. They just got some real questionable losses. I consider them a top tier Eastern Conference team, but to lose against the Warriors, without their guys the other day, and you bounce back against the Bucks, but what is that? Just the inconsistencies makes me want to kind of sit this ones out. But it would be Cavs a pass for me in this one.
So this is the way that I was looking towards fading the Knicks, was that them as home dogs. So it seems like they were doing. Let me just double check this. So they're winning at over 50% as home favorites, not covering all the time, but if we go as dogs, they're really not doing well at all in this spot here. It looks like so did you guys take the team total over already?
Yeah, I already played this one over 112.5.
112.5. Cavs.
We also just look at the defensive rating for the Knicks with and without Mitchell Robinson. With him 113.2, without 121.2.
All right, let's go back to the photo.
I looked at that as well,
112.5. They're giving out an average of 127. This is the only one that went under, but was without. Oh no, that was
the Nets, right?
Yeah, that was in November. That was before the coaching change too, probably, right? When did they change coach? December.
November 1st, I think it was.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I think it was early November.
So this is when Knicks was focusing on defense, on Nets. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why you guys did the Cavs team total over. Cavs team total over 112. Man, I kind of want to get there. I kind of want to get there with the spread. Wait, is this a revenge spot?
It is a revenge spot. Yes.
So let's see how Cavaliers do. Fuck. How's that? Two of the top teams in the East, they just suck in revenge situations.
Right. That's what I mean. I see. Add to their way.
Man, this is dumb. To
their credit, I think that November stretch was the game, and you could check it real quick. I think those were the games without Jared Allen, so they didn't have full squad during that time. But yeah, I mean, it seems easy to take the Cavs minus 3.5, but which is why I didn't do it. I just kind of focused on the team total.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Where's the Knicks? 120, 118. Pace. They both. Damn, look how slow their pace is.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna dive deeper into that one.
I see. Hold on. Go back from 10 games though, and put last 4 games. Just because without Mitchell Robinson, the Knicks have been playing at a faster pace. See where that Knicks pace goes to.
Damn.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, it is even slower. Which doesn't make any sense, right? Who have they faced in the last 4 games?
Well, they played the Raptors, so I know that's one that's going to slow them down a lot.
Yeah, the Raptors. I think I don't know that was
the Wizards also play slow. That was the first game without Mitchell Robinson. So
Raptors, so this one's faster. They went over. Raptors.
All 4 of those teams I see have gone over their team total.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, Toronto, Washington, Atlanta, and Toronto.
Yeah, and I would say that the Cavs offense is better than the Raptors. It's also better than the Wizards in my estimation.
Cavs. All right, so one more thing to look at. So Cavs is greater than equal to 2. So now we're not really looking at the spread. We just want to see the team total. So if we say it's a high total, boom. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay. Now I can get with you guys. Cavs team total over. I like it. I just needed a little bit more. I like it. All right, Cavs team total over 112.5. Beautiful. I like it. Okay, let's move on to the next one. That is Nuggets and Pelicans. I was leaning Pelicans, guys. But I don't have like just like looking at the game, looking at the schedule, I was leaning Pelicans, but I don't have like that much support off of this other than I think Nuggets struggle going from road to home. I mean home to road for the most part. But they're also good on the first leg of back-to-back games. So nothing to like really support it for the most part. They do have the don't they have the Bucks next? They have the Bucks tomorrow.
Yeah,
right?
tomorrow.
First leg of back-to-back games. They're on a 3-game road trip now, coming off 5 straight home games. Why would we, or what are you guys on? How about that? What are you guys on in this game? Do you have anything?
It was just for me for Denver. The injury report, right? When you have Joker questionable, Michael Porter Jr. questionable.
He's out. He's out now,
MPJ
out.
MPJ out.
Okay. Yeah, this was more of a stay away for me. I mean, obviously, if Joker is in, I do like the Nuggets. But if you can take a look at what Pelicans have really done since Zion has left, I mean, they haven't beat a team that's either right at 500 or above 500. Like, you take a look at their losing streak, they're losing to better opponents, but the 3 wins without Zion and BI in the lineup have come against the Rockets, the Wizards, and the Pistons. I mean, that's not overly impressive to me. And then they've lost 4 in a row against Cleveland, twice against Miami. They did cover that game, but they also lost to Orlando as well. So it's like they're not, they don't have enough right now without their top 2 other guys in the lineup, where other teams are just taking advantage of the Pelicans right now. So I would lean towards Denver, but again, it's nothing that I love or will be putting my money on.
Is BI last I saw he was questionable. Is he actually going to play?
I saw him listed as doubtful.
I saw him as doubtful as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they say he's probably going. I think the Pelicans got a few games at home. I see they play the Timberwolves tomorrow as well. They got a game tomorrow, and they also got the Wizards coming up. So he's supposed to make his return during this home stretch in one of these 3 games, but it doesn't look like it's going to be today.
Gotcha.
Bro, just take off his toe and put on a new one, man. It's been like 2 months since he's
been
out.
Been forever. Yeah. The Pelicans, honestly, I think for me, just kind of echoing what Munaf already said, they just don't have enough offense. Like when I watch this team play, they just don't have enough offense. When you take away Brandon Ingram, you take away Zion.
Yeah.
Even Najee Marshall is listed as questionable. So you're really relying on guys like Herb Jones and Jose Alvarado and Valanciunas, and putting a lot of pressure on on CJ McCollum, the head of that snake, to try to do a lot. And we know Denver can score the ball. So total pass for me, like Minov said, until we get the injury updated injury news. But I still don't like the spot, like you said, RC, with Denver having the Bucks on deck for tomorrow.
What is do you guys know the team total for the Nuggets in this one?
Let me take a look here.
I was just looking at this here, the Nuggets without Jokic, if he doesn't play, they're only averaging 108. And I think if I'm looking at the total and the spread right now, it would probably be around this 115 mark.
It is 115. I see.
Yeah, it's
115
and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, 115 and a half.
So the only one game that went over that for the team total on the Nuggets side was against the Pacers. So if I was to look at this and say, and if Jokic was out, I would just probably take the Nuggets team total under. Because Pelicans, you said Pelicans don't have any defense. Offense. So their primary focus will probably be on the defensive side of the ball.
That's a fact. Yeah, big difference between them being at home and on the road.
Yeah. Well, that's the way that I would go for this one. I think it's really tough when we don't know who's fucking playing and shit. It's so stupid.
Yep.
Do you guys have any last comments on this one before we move on to the next one?
No.
Dyson Daniels PRA.
Hey, when we pulling up Dyson Daniels, hey, it's bad when we pulling up Dyson Daniels.
So we have Wizards and Mavs. Did you guys have anything on this one?
Yeah, I think we like the over in this game.
Yep.
Mavericks have just been struggling on the defensive side of the basketball as of late. If you want, last 5 games here, Dallas Mavericks number 29 as far as defensive rating, 127.5. Last 10 games, we go back a little further, I think they're still bottom 4 in the league as far as defensive rating.
Yep.
Last
10 defensive rating.
Yeah.
They're 28th in the league.
Yeah. So they've been consistently bad, and you take a look at how many points they've given up over the past couple of games here. I think that going back to that Friday night game against the Hawks, they gave up 130. Let me see here. So prior to even that, I mean, look, against Portland,
God.
136, 140, 130. They only gave up 90 to Miami, but then they came back and gave up 112 to the Clippers as well. And Clippers, again, not really clicking yet offensively, but I think Washington comes in here, even without Porzingis. I think they have enough offense to put up points as well.
So this is I like the over too. I already took it. The only thing that worried me was the offense without Christian Wood. They are 2-4 to the under, but I think this is just more of a spot play to the over, in my opinion. They struggled. They went under their team total here. It's not like they weren't. It's not like they weren't being able to score for the most part on these. It was just their defense was struggling, right? So I think they bounced back offensively. I don't think Wizards their defensive rating is a little bit, I think, towards the middle of the league, if I remember correctly. On
Wizards
the season
have been bad, I think, the past couple games.
Yeah, so I looked at the last 10 games, right? They're here, but I think if we look at all season, they're towards the middle, right here, 17. So I looked back to see who they've been playing. Oops. Last 10 games, and I feel like you see a few teams here, just sort of like in bad spots. Also, I think some teams were shorthanded as well, for the most part that they've been facing. So I can see why their defensive rating is a little bit better, but for the most part, I think they're still an average defensive team, and I think Dallas should be able to bounce back offensively here.
RC, did you look at the Mavs, in this spot as far as points scored in the previous game?
1 second. I have damn, where did I put my notes? Mavericks on this spot as far as like what are coming off of a loss, or
not coming off a loss, just their points, because they only scored 98 points, which is pretty low low amount of points against the Clippers in his last game.
Also point this out, Washington non-conference games, they're 11-6 to the over, 64.7% this season.
Non-conference games?
Yeah.
So real quick, let's go to this one first. Mavericks, after they score less than 100, 5-2 to the over.
Mm-hmm.
So they do bounce back offensively there, especially if they're at home. So we go at home. 3-0 straight up, 3-0 ATS, 3-0 to the over. All winning by double digits. We got Pelicans, Blazers, and Nuggets. Who's here? Nuggets missed Jokic. I knew they wouldn't have won that game by. Okay. And then so if we go, you said Wizards non-conference?
Yeah. 11-6-1 to the over.
11-6-1 to the over. Boom.
And
Over averaging over 230. I had another one on the Wizards for the over. So if we go rest greater than equal to 2, I think. 9-2 to the over when they're rested.
Nice.
Sorry, looking at the chat here. Spencer over 2.5 threes. I think that one has been hitting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spencer over 2.5 threes ever since. Oh yeah, okay.
Ever since Christian Wood went down, yeah.
Unicorn is not playing today. No paper plate. Yeah. This one's a I actually like this play. The Avdiha rebounds.
Up yet.
Avdiha. I don't know how to say it. All right,
Yeah, you get it right.
All right, and then Mavs, home favorites. And total is greater than 218. 11-2 to the over there. A little bit cherry picking on the number of the total, but just goes to show when their totals are a little bit higher as home favorites that they do tend to go over. The points do happen. So over for me. I also took the Mavs, guys. I don't know if you guys do you guys like a side on this one?
I don't trust the Mavs on a big number.
They have been struggling in that spot.
Yeah.
One thing
I mean, at home.
No, go ahead, Muna.
Go ahead, Mina.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was just gonna mention they're 8-13-1 against spread at home. Obviously I have to dig a little bit deeper and see what some of the spreads have been, but I think outside of 6, I kind of get nervous backing the Mavericks.
Yeah, I looked at RC. You probably looked at the same thing. A previous home loss and then their home favorite in the next game. They do well in the bounce back spot. You muted, RC. RC, you muted.
My bad. Say that one more time. It was Mavericks off a home loss.
Yeah, Mavericks off a home loss and their home favorite in the next game. They typically bounce back well in the spot.
I think it was similar to this, but it wasn't exactly. I think I just looked at home. Was it just home? Yeah, just home in general, not as a favorite. Because I saw that there were dogs just a couple of days ago, but it was only one game off, so it's pretty much the same thing. They're winning and covering off of that home loss. Pointing towards the over as well. More specifically, their team total over. Heat struggled offensively there. Were they shorthanded? No, I think they had a full squad that game.
Yeah, they just wet the bed. I was on them on the money line. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so that's the reason. This is one of the reasons why I like the Mavs here and the over. I know, like you said, Munaf, though they've been struggling in this spot at home.
Yeah.
Specifically over the season. Just here coming off of a loss, I think they do bounce back pretty strong. For the most part. Also, I don't know how. What do you guys think about this with the Wizards? You know, obviously they just traded Rui, right? That doesn't have anything. I don't think he was a big part of their game plan, anyways. So I'm not too sure it affects them as a team. But I think what does affect them is the talk all around them about, are they now selling? Are they a seller now? You know, at this point, a lot of talk about Kuzma being their primary player. How does that affect Beal? Right? Beal would assume to be like more of the key player that they want to build around, but all the talk was about Kuzma yesterday after that trade. So
yeah,
I think more so not the chemistry of Rui leaving, but more the talk with everybody. How does that affect them today? I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. Do you think that does affect them, or is it more they're just going to go straight to business regardless?
I mean, they came out yesterday and said that, hey, Kuzma's off the table as far as, trade talks. That's a guy that we want to build around, right? And I know we've talked about this on my pod on what the direction is on what the Wizards want to do, because they got KP last season or the season before on this team. They just paid Bradley Beal all that money as well. So, I mean, I don't know. It's difficult for me to say on what they're trying to do down there in DC. Look, they have some pieces. They have some talent, right? We talk about guys like Bradley Beal, KP when healthy. He's a force to deal with. Kyle Kuzma has kind of found his form with the Wizards. You talk about Denny Avdia, they picked up in the draft a couple seasons ago. So I think for them, it's about putting it all together and figure out what's the direction on where we want to go. But I think for them to hang on to Kuzma, I think is a smart play.
Yeah. Well, what do you think, Chris?
No, I agree with Munaf just said. I think you got to hold on to him because, I mean, you go back and you look at the draft for the Wizards, they drafted Bill like a decade ago, and they haven't drafted anyone else like besides him that has like really stuck since him. So like, even with Rue, like you let Rue go yesterday, and he should have been one of the guys that they should have been developing, but now they get Kuzma, and he kind of takes over the keys for the position that Kyle Kuzma is in right now. That should have been his position, but so I don't know what they got going on in DC either. RC, like I'm not 100% sure how this team bounced back. I know they want, like Munaf said, the Wizards, they want to build around Kuzma, but Kuzma wants out. There's rumors going around that Kuzma doesn't even want to be in DC anymore. Like he wants to leave. So
that's exactly the point, right? Like they just traded Rui. That's not that. Like I said, that's not going to affect their team play. It's all the talk. I think the talk is what's going to affect them for the most part, at least until the trade deadline, because they're all worried now, right? I mean, I don't know. So I can only look towards the Mavs here and towards the over. Any last comments before we move on to the next game?
No.
All right, let's go to Hornets Suns. Do we know if LaMelo's playing?
I think he was still officially questionable. Let me check the updated injury report. There's not one yet submitted because they're on a back-to-back, but I think if he made the trip with them, that maybe he plays here tonight because they were on a back-to-back situation.
Yeah. That's true. I didn't really look into this game too much. I don't know if you guys did. Did you guys have any angles on this one? Let's look to the chat. Do you guys have any plays on this?
I know Wham was on the first half.
Hornets?
No, first half Suns. I think the numbers were overwhelmingly favoring the Suns in the first half. The net rating, I think, was like +6 for these Suns in the first half, and then I think like Hornets are like bottom 6 as far as first half.
So it seems like they've been putting it together at home since the beginning of this homestand.
They do kind of need to stack up wins, RC. To me, it's Suns or nothing. I just don't want to lay 6.5. I think it could go up even more. Hornets also, RC, one thing I looked at was the Hornets traveling from Utah, right? We talk about teams coming out of altitude. So I looked at teams traveling from Utah on the second leg of a back-to-back. I was looking towards the Charlotte Hornets team total under, just because the Suns have been winning with their defense. We know Chris Paul also slows down the pace. I think they're forgot what their record is, RC, but we can look at that as well.
Is this what it is? So their previous opponent is the Jazz, and they were on the road.
No. Rest equals 0.
Oh,
so they're playing after,
after Utah.
Yeah, after Utah.
So 5-1 to the under.
Mm-hmm. You see Delta points scored 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 of those 6 teams have went under. Charlotte, second night of a back-to-back, but also a third game in 4 nights. If LaMelo gets ruled in, the total probably goes up. Yep. And then I think you could look towards the team total to go over.
That's a good point. So this one went over. Well, Blazers at home, I think they're really good offensively.
For me, it kind of makes sense. I see just because the Suns have been winning with their defense recently. We know that they're still without Devin Booker, so they kind of lack offense. Even still, they still kind of lack offense. But I think the Hornets should be able to go under that whatever their team total is. I got that written down on my short list, but I didn't play it. I think it was like 110.5. They only scored 102 points last night in Utah.
Yeah. So I looked at Hornets on the second leg of back-to-back games. They are 4-2 to the under for the most part. It's their defense. Even on the other trend that you just showed, Chris, it was the DPA that went under. So if you look at this, right? So it's 5-1 to the under for their opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And if we go back to what you said, the Jazz coming off a game versus the Jazz in Utah, now on the second leg of back-to-back games, 4-1 to the under. The DPA is the 4-1 to the under, not the DPS. You get what you see? What
Right. No, I get that. I get that. Yeah.
Do you think?
I was looking at it on the opposite one though. I see. Go back one more because that's third game in 4 nights. I was looking at just the second.
Oh, okay, yeah, got you. Okay, but it's still
both are applicable. Yeah, both are applicable.
So you're saying take the full game under?
I mean now that we look at it, it looked like the full game under might be better, might be in play more than the actual team total under. But I had Charlotte team total under 110 written down in my notes. I would wait for it to go up though, RC, because LaMelo probably ends up drawing like Bridges in this matchup, which could be a pretty bad defensive matchup for him. So I think the total probably goes up a little bit if Melo comes back in. He typically influences the total in that way. So then I would probably look towards the over if you liked it in this spot.
Gotcha. Man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play anything here. Did you take that? So you're just waiting for the official status. Are you for sure gonna play it after?
No. Oh, this is just a look. Yeah, just a link. No, nothing that I was gonna play. It was my only look in the game.
Gotcha. So I haven't been following too much on the Sun side. Who's scoring all their points here? Like who's putting? Are they pretty much a team effort?
Yeah, I mean it's been probably different guys every night. Probably got Chris Paul and Cam. I know they got Cam Johnson back, Dwayne Washington. Yeah, Torrey Craig,
Aiden every now and then. Aiden's ruled out though. I think Aiden is doubtful, which is another reason why you probably look towards the under.
Yeah.
Jesus. So they are going to the under 5-3 to the under, but they've been covering without him. Let's take Booker out too. Yeah. And under. Check with CP3 in. Yes, I will do that.
All those opponents too, I see. Just looking at their list of teams, those are all good teams, not like Hornet teams.
Right? That's one, yeah. Just one game. So one game with no Booker or Aiden and Chris Paul in. 1-0 straight up, 1-0 ATS. They were probably
that was the last game. That was on Sunday.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Damn. To the under. I think that's the way you go, for real. So the team total under or the full game under? That's the question.
Yeah.
What's the team total at?
Team total is 110. But if LaMelo gets rolled in, it'll go up.
Gotcha. Just CP3. All right. So if it's just CP3 we're looking at. Suns with Chris Paul in 16, 10, and 1 to the under. 5 straight unders.
Yep, I looked at that too.
Good call. So team total under.
Even last night they only scored 102.
102 in Utah,
against the Jazz. You can say that Phoenix is a better defensive team.
I said the same thing when I was doing my breakdown earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
look
that's a
at
good point.
you also look at those games right there. I see like look at those teams offensively. The Grizzlies are a much better offensive team than Charlotte, and they only scored 110. The Heat, I would say, are. The Cavs definitely are. The Knicks are. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if those teams
So
can go,
even so the other thing is, even if LaMelo plays, he pushes the pace, but because Chris Paul's in, his main focus is defense. He's gonna
slow it
slow the
down.
pace and hold LaMelo down.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Good look. I would actually look maybe, yeah. So if LaMelo's in, total goes up, take the full game under. I think that would be the way to go, right?
Yep.
Smart look. Smart. Okay. Anything else before we move on to the last game? No.
Nope.
All right. So we got Clippers, Lakers. So Clippers 2-game winning streak. Lakers won and covered 3 of their last 4. First leg of back-to-back games for the Lakers. Oh, they only play the Spurs tomorrow.
That's like a day off, RC.
Yeah. So Clippers, they say this is an away game, but they're technically home,
Yeah.
right? They were just on a 3-game road trip. What do you guys have on this one?
Go ahead, Mino.
No, you go ahead. You're the Lakers fan. Go ahead. I want to hear what you got to say.
I was looking at the under, RC. It's dropped already a little bit. It opened at 233. I think it's down to 230. And I like that. I like the under. I think what you see right here that you have brought up is the Clippers against the Lakers.
Yeah.
Both of those games have gone under the total already as well. One of those games having PG in, the other one without. Also got to take into consideration AD not being in, AD not being out as well. But one thing I looked at, RC, was, the Lakers they've done well. Not well enough for me to feel like I want to put my hard-earned money on them and trust them to back them plus the 5.
Yeah.
But they have been playing defense, right? So pull this up real quick, RC. Look at the Lakers after Christmas. I think the conception is that this team, just plays, up and down the floor, and they do, but a lot of their games have gone towards the under, and you can see the trend there. What was that, RC? 9 and...
Hey, look at that. The team total under is crazy. So not even so if you're pointing towards the under, right? 9 and 6 to the under on the full game, but their team total is actually 12 and 3. Their opponent's team total under.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't think their defense was doing that well.
Yeah,
Well, all the totals have been super high. That's probably why. Yeah, look at that shit. It's like all 240s.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's a good look. So what are you looking at on this one then? Are you looking towards the under?
So I'm looking towards the under because I do think that the Clippers, while they have been playing, not the greatest defense, I think that they play defense well against the Lakers in general. Like, this is a team that typically owns my Lakers. You look at the head-to-head matchup, the Clippers, not only do they, cover the spreads, they've covered 4 in a row, but they've beaten the Lakers, every time since it feels like forever. I think they beat them every time since December 22nd, 2022, 9 straight wins in a row, and most of those games do go under. So I think that, I think there's something to Coach Ty Lue, coaching LeBron before, knowing how to kind of slow him down. And then you're just kind of relying on those other guys. And the Lakers have a bunch of very inconsistent guys like Thomas Bryant, Dennis Schroeder, still without the services of Austin Reeves, Kendrick Nunn, of course, shipped to DC. And then, you also got Lonnie Walker also continues to be out. So I think the Clippers make it hard for the Lakers to score. But in turn, I think the Lakers also, slow down this Clippers team that's still without John Wall, still without Luke Kennard.
Yeah. So this one thing that I did look at yesterday is Clippers against teams that play high, fast pace, like when points are at, look to be scored. Look at 230 as a threshold. Clippers with a total of 230 or more. I think I don't know why it's slow. They haven't covered in any of those games. There's only 3 of them, but they typically have low scoring games. So I think they just might be uncomfortable in this game. Come on. 0-3 ATS here. There's a dog in each of them. They did Sorry, favorite Clippers. So sorry, it's Clippers side. They're the favorite in each one. They did cover this one. They did win this one, but didn't cover.
Shout out to Kelton Johnson hitting those 2 threes at the end of that game.
Yeah, that was the one. I remember that
Ski
one.
on that.
Yeah, Ski was upset about that one.
Ski, I remember because Ski was on the Clippers side, and then Punt was on the Spurs side.
Yeah. Lakers team total over was the pivot, RC, and I see that. Like, I think that's in this trim right here. It's at 112.5. You look at them; they've been scoring in the spot. You see the Clippers with this just high total. They've given up that many points 2 of the 3 games.
Yeah, I saw that. So they went over by a lot too, by double digits, right here.
Mm-hmm. Because if the Lakers are going to make the Clippers play at their pace, then the Clippers are going to have to score more points. If you think that the game is going to go over, right? The Clippers play slow, the Lakers play fast.
Clippers as road favorites. They've gone over.
Yep.
In 7 straight.
Mm-hmm.
Road favorites.
Right, road
favorites. Yeah, road favorites.
Yeah. and just to set the record straight, they I don't care how many times they beat us, they still gonna be on the road every time they step into crypto.com arena, until they get their own arena.
Yeah, that's true.
they don't got no banners. They don't got no banners hanging up, no jewelry, none of that.
Let's just say favorite. Well, if we do that, that's it's always tough to find. Oh, you know what? The Clippers. I was looking at this yesterday. I think they won like 7 straight against the Lakers.
Yeah, I said that already. I see.
You did?
We beat them since July.
You know how I am, Chris. I don't.
He's not paying attention to what we say.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and those games go under, RC, which is why I say I like the under.
All right. The full game under?
Yeah, even though it's dropped, I still like the full game under.
I'm always thinking is sometimes when you guys talk, I don't hear. All right. Let's see what we got here.
Do December 22nd, RC. Do December 22nd, 2020.
Greater than?
Yeah, equal to. Or after. Yeah, greater than or equal to, yeah.
All right. 20 what?
2020, 12/22.
Ain't no. Damn. 102.
It's difficult to look at that and digest it, RC, because you got PG in for some of those games, Kawhi in, Kawhi out, AD in, AD out.
Yep. But for the most part, just all looking to the under. Got that. All right. That's everything. That's all the games. We went through every game on the slate. Let's go to recap here. All right, guys. Go ahead and drop some of your officials here. Let's start with you, Mina.
Yeah, Cavs team total 112.5 over on that. We talked about how Mitchell Robinson, the defense drops for the Knicks without Mitchell Robinson in the lineup. Do get Donovan Mitchell back here tonight for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I think they'll be able to put up some points here after all the points that they have given up, I think, over the last 5 games for the Cavs. The other one I did like was the over in the Wizards and the Mavericks game as well. Those are the 2 officials that I've put in so far.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, right there with Munaf on that Cavs team total over 112. RC, probably strongest player today that I like. But like I said, the Lakers and the Clippers, that under that we just kind of talked about, really, really strong play there as well. And I'm gonna do some more digging on the Chicago and Indiana under as well, because I do think Chicago, the jet lag catches up with Chicago, and somehow Indiana is gonna find a way to play enough defense to get a win tonight.
Think so. They just got to be on the court, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, I did take the Pacers already. I got it at a bad number. I got it at +1 last night. It is at +2, I believe, now. And then I also took the Mavs and the Mavs game over. I do want to get there with you guys on that Cavs team total over 112.5. I'm probably gonna tell you guys on that. And then I think that Suns Hornets look when if LaMelo is in, I might end up taking that under as well. That was a good look there. I think it's important to note that we gotta wait until LaMelo status is there.
Also, RC, real quick on the Cavs team total. If Donovan Mitchell gets ruled in, we may see that move a half a point up as well. So if people want to get in on that Cavs, he's already listed as probable, but when he's officially ruled in, that may tick up just a half point as well. We could see that spread go from 3.5 up to 4 as well. So just kind of want to make sure I note that as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, cool. I think that's it. I think we had a really good show being able to break it down. Typically we only go through like 4 games in this hour and then we have nothing else to talk about. All right, well, any last comments before we cut out, guys? Munaf or Chris?
No, man. I think we covered all the bases here today.
Yeah, appreciate you having me, RC.
Yes, sir. All right, well, with that said, man, make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button before you go. We do this show every day, as much as possible. Actually, there's some days, I think Thursdays, I already have like a couple of shows going on, so sometimes I don't do Thursdays, especially if it's a smaller slate, because I don't like being repetitive with everything. But for the most part, I try to do this every day for the rest of the season, hopefully, and hopefully have you guys on, continue to be on the show as well. And always gotta end with this, guys. Whether you fade us or follow us, it is on you guys to make that call. Good luck with all your action. Till next time, peace.